Today we're going to be doing lesson 11.3, which is direct and inverse variation. What direct and inverse variation is it's formulas that shows you correlations between normally x and y. K is called our constant, and you're going to want to write this down. K is called the constant, okay? No matter what in a problem, in direct variation or inverse variation, you will always be able to know what K is because it's constant. What that word means is it never changes. It will always be the same. So no matter what Y is, no matter what X is, I know that K will always be the same. So these are the formulas. You do need to memorize these formulas. Direct is Y equals K times X. And inverse is y equals k divided by x, or k over x. So what they want us to do in these problems here is they want us to write an equation that relates to x and y directly. So therefore, when they say x and y directly, I know that that means direct variation. Well, we just got finished saying that our formula for direct variation is y equals k times x. But if you notice here, they only gave us y and they only gave us x. The whole point of direct and inverse variation is to find k, my constant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information that they've given me. I know that 4 is equal to y. I do not know what k is, but I know 2 is equal to x. So now, in order to find k, all I need to do is solve for k. So I divide by 2 on both sides, and I get k is equal to 2. Now, this is not my final answer. Anytime you have direct and inverse variation, you always have to take your original formula, y equals k times x, and only plug in what k equals. So my final answer would be written y equals 2 times x. So I want to go ahead and do the next problem. And again, they've given me what y and x equals, but I don't know what k equals, and I have to know what k equals. I know that I'm doing a direct variation, so I write y equals k times x. I've got to find what k equals, which is my constant. They've given me that 12 equals y. I don't know what k is, but I know that 3 equals x. Again, I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides, and I find that k is equal to 4. Now, again, let me say this again. If you box in this answer right here, k is equal to 4, that is not correct because the instructions say write an equation. So my answer has to be in equation form. It cannot just be k equals 4. So I've got to go back to my original formula where I write y is equal to 4, I plug in what k is, times x. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, you do not want to plug back into your final answer 12 equals 4 times 3. Because the whole point of direct and inverse variation is so that you have a constant. So I could take this exact same equation right here that I have and say, okay, what if y was 10? Tell me what x would equal. Okay, well, I'd have to solve that, and I could find that. Or if I said, what if x was 5? What would y be? So that's the whole point of direct variation, is so that you can change x and y, but as long as you know k, you can always find your answer. So just because they gave you these two answers in the first place does not mean that's what goes in your your final answer. Your final answer will only be what k is equal to. So now let's do inverse variation. And the formula for inverse variation is y equals k over x, or k divided by x. Again, we see that they've given us y and x, but they did not give us k. Remember, k is always what you're looking for when you're doing direct and inverse variation. So again, I'm going to plug in my numbers. 4 equals k over 2. Now ask yourself, what's happening between the k and the 2? Division. So the only way to get k by itself is I multiply by 2. That cancels out there. I multiply by 2 on this side, and I get 8 equals k. All right? Again, that is not my final answer. I've got to go back to my formula, which is y equals k over x, and only plug in k. So it's going to be y equals 8 over x. This will be my final answer. Let's do the next one. Again, they told us to write an equation that relates to x and y inversely. So I'm going to use this formula here, y equals k over x. And I'm going to plug in my numbers. 12 equals k, since I don't know what it is, over 3. Again, I say k and 3 are being divided, so the only way to get k by itself is to multiply. I multiply by 3, which cancels that out. Remember, you're not multiplying 3 times k to get 3k. That's not correct. Okay, when you multiply by 3, it cancels out. Multiply by 3 on this side, and I get 36 is equal to k. So again, I've got to write my final answer as y is equal to 36 over x. This is direct and inverse variation. Make sure that you remember that when you are writing your final answer, it has to be in the correct form. This is your homework for Monday night. It must be completed and turned in on Tuesday.